Have you ever heard the expression, beware of Greeks bearing gifts? Well, that famous saying comes from one of the most incredible stories ever told, the tale of the Trojan Horse. It's a story packed with action, suspense, and a brilliant trick that ended a 10-year war. This isn't just an old myth, it's a masterclass in strategy that people still talk about thousands of years later. So, how did a giant wooden horse bring down an entire city? Let's dive in. Our story begins in the thick of the Trojan War. For a solid decade, the mighty Greek army had been camped outside the towering walls of Troy, unable to break through. They had tried everything brute force, sieges, direct battles, but the city of Troy stood strong. The Greeks were exhausted. Morale was low, and it seemed like they were at a complete stalemate. They needed a game changer, something totally unexpected. And that's when one of the cleverest heroes in all of Greek mythology, Odysseus, had a stroke of genius. Odysseus wasn't the strongest warrior, but his mind was his greatest weapon. He proposed a plan so audacious, so wild, it was either going to be a spectacular failure or the most legendary trick in history. The idea to build a colossal wooden horse, hollow on the inside, and leave it as a gift for the Trojans. The Greeks would then pretend to give up and sail away, leaving the horse behind on the beach. But hidden inside this magnificent structure would be a small, elite group of their best soldiers, including Odysseus himself. So the Greeks got to work. They constructed a massive horse from fir planks, so large it was a marvel to behold. They inscribed it with a dedication to the goddess Athena, hoping this would convince the Trojans it was a sacred offering for a safe journey home. Once it was finished, Odysseus and his hand-picked warriors climbed inside. The hatch was sealed, and they waited in the dark, cramped belly of the beast. The rest of the Greek army burned their camps, boarded their ships, and sailed away, but only just out of sight, hiding behind a nearby island. When the morning sun rose, the Trojans couldn't believe their eyes. The beaches were empty. The Greek ships were gone. And standing there, where the enemy camp once stood, was this enormous, mysterious wooden horse. The war was over, or so they thought. They poured out of the city gates, cheering and celebrating. But what to do with the horse? This is where the real drama unfolds. The city was divided. Some were suspicious. A priest named Laocoon famously warned them, "I fear the Greeks, even when they bring gifts." He even threw a spear at the horse, and the sound of metal clanking on metal echoed from within. At the same time, Cassandra, a princess cursed to see the future but never be believed, frantically tried to tell her people it was a trap that would lead to their destruction. But the Trojans were caught up in the excitement of their apparent victory. They wanted to believe the war was over. Overruling the cautious voices, they decided to bring the horse into their city as a trophy of war and an offering to the gods. The horse was so huge they had to break down a part of their own impenetrable wall to get it inside. That night, the entire city of Troy threw a massive party. They feasted, danced, and celebrated their victory late into the night, completely unaware of the danger lurking right in their midst. As the city finally fell into a deep, celebratory sleep, the moment Odysseus had been waiting for arrived. Under the cover of darkness, the hidden soldiers quietly opened the hatch of the wooden horse and slipped out. Their first move was to kill the city's sentries and then rush to the main gates, throwing them wide open. This was the signal. The rest of the Greek army, which had sailed back under the cover of night, swarmed into the now defenseless city. The surprise was total and devastating. The city of Troy, which had stood unconquered for 10 long years, was brought to its knees in a single night, all thanks to a clever idea and a wooden horse. So, is the story of the Trojan horse true? Historians debate whether it was a real event or perhaps a metaphor for a type of siege, engine, or even an earthquake that brought down the walls. But whether it's fact or fiction, its legacy is undeniable. The term Trojan horse is now a part of our language, used to describe any trick that gets an enemy to invite a threat into a protected space, most famously in the world of computer viruses. The story reminds us that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't a sword, but a smart idea. It's a timeless lesson in thinking outside the box, the power of deception, and how underestimating your opponent can be a fatal mistake. The tale of the Trojan horse proves that creativity and intelligence can triumph where brute strength fails. Thanks for watching. If you love stories from history and mythology, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more amazing tales from the past. See you next time.